Let's go to the Jets. Depth chart. QB, Zach Wilson, James Morgan, Mike White. Running back, Michael Carter, LaMichael Pirine, Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman. Wide receiver, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Keelan Cole, Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder. At tight end, Chris Herndon, Ryan Griffin, Tyler Croft. Ugly at tight end. Chris Herndon's shown some upside, but he's just never really get it done. Let's start at the top. Zach Wilson. No clear cut, going to be the starter week 1.
Absolutely.
There's nobody else there on that depth chart.
Yep.
Second overall pick, ahead of guys like Justin Fields, ahead of Mac Jones, ahead of Trey Lance. This is a quarterback that going into it, you guys didn't have him high as I have. I had him, as far as I know, in the Dynasty community, I had Zach Wilson higher than anybody else. I didn't see anybody else that had Zach Wilson as their number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, it's been mostly either Lance or Fields.
I might have saw a couple people here and there, but you had Zach Wilson as your number 2 quarterback?
Do I not exist on this podcast? Am I not?
Did you have him at 2?
Yeah.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had Justin Fields as your number 2.
Oh.
I definitely did.
Yeah, he did.
Fields.
Oh, and I like Justin Fields a lot. Well, you, I, and a couple others. I think I saw a couple of them. Like,
Do I not exist?
I didn't know he had number 2. I didn't either.
That's all right. You talk so much, you just don't even listen. You don't pay any attention to me.
I really like Zach Wilson. I think he's a very talented quarterback. I think he's a little bit athletic. I love the way he gets the ball out. I love the way he can get out at any different angle. I said it reminded me of a little bit more athletic Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, definitely.
Who obviously,
the accuracy, the ability to...
Do we like him?
Throw at the different arm angles, everything.
Back rub?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Great stuff.
And he's accurate.
And you got to love the offense that he's going into as well. I mean, this was one of these, obviously, they brought all the offense over from Shanahan style offense from San Francisco when Robert Saleh came over, Mike LaFleur's the offensive coordinator. And I think he's going to do great stuff. I think it's going to be a quick, short type of passing game, which is going to suit his skill set, I think, to perfection. I think he can get the ball out. He's got a lightning fast release, and he's deadly accurate. And obviously the Elijah Moore pick was one of my favorite picks in the whole entire draft. I love that guy. So he's going to be a huge help, I think, right out the gate for a young quarterback. And we're probably going to talk about the tight ends here in a little bit. I think they're leaving a little bit to be desired.
Sure. A lot of it to be desired. I mean, talk about another situation where Zach Ertz could potentially get traded. We didn't even talk about. I mean, the Jets, if they want to make this offense to another level, that's another team you could probably go to just because.
You kind of glossed over it. Chris Herndon is probably the highest upside guy, but he's reportedly struggling with the offense and having a hard time picking it up.
We've talked about him for 2 years, a couple of years now. I'm done.
Griffin was actually 2 seasons ago. He actually put together a nice season and ended up getting a contract because of that. With a new quarterback, if Herndon doesn't produce, he could end up being a sneaky value guy that, every year we have those guys. How did he end up as a tight end one? He could easily end up being one of those guys because of who he's
good hands, with. Really tall. Yeah. Griffin, he interested me right when he signed that contract. I picked him up he was in a waiver in every league. I picked him up, and I've been monitoring him. He hasn't done anything since that contract.
No, and he probably still won't. It's a new regime. It's a new everything. But
over Chris Herndon, I'll take him.
It's about the same at this point.
Tyler Croft, he's terrible.
Yeah, but overall,
Is it Tyler Croft, the golfer's Palmer's grandson?
No.
Who was that?
He played for the Bills. I can't remember his name right now.
Zach Ertz. Go on.
No.
But overall,
he had a heart issue and had to, I think, retire.
I love how this team is being built. They have the 2 big offensive linemen and Becton and Morgan Moss. What is it? Whatever it is.
It's getting late here in the studio.
It is. It's midnight here. So, but a lot of young, talented receivers. And then you have this very intelligent head coach in Robert Saleh, LaFleur with the bloodlines at offensive coordinator. It's a really good unit they're building. So quickly going back to Zach Wilson, even though I wasn't as high on him as I was Lance and Justin Fields, it's my number 2 quarterback. You couldn't have asked for much more on a rebuild than what he's getting.
Yeah, and I like what I've already liked what they put around him. Obviously, the running back situation we'll talk here in a minute, but let's go to the receivers. You mentioned Elijah Moore, one of our favorite prospects coming out here.
So good.
And then to hear the news that he is dominating at OTAs already and that nobody can cover him on defense. We talked about earlier about how I love to make a move where, if he was a high second round pick, but I give him a first round pick, or I give him a first round grade, I love to go trade for those guys right away. I did it with Elijah Moore. Every league I didn't get Elijah Moore in, that he went the second round, I offered my first and second round pick the following year. It actually went through for one league, so I was ecstatic about it. I think Elijah Moore is the number one receiver on this roster. I know Corey Davis made some good change here, and I like Corey Davis. He was a fantastic prospect coming out too. Finally stepped up last year.
Right.
But I think when it comes to fantasy football production and upside, Elijah Moore is literally sky the limit, with the sky being, I don't want to say Antonio Brown, because Antonio Brown's one of literally the greatest fantasy football wide receivers to ever walk the planet, but in that kind of way. You know what I mean? Like, not Antonio Brown production, because we might never see that again, but he could be that kind of player, a year in, year out, wide receiver one.
I totally agree. That's how I read it as well. I think Corey Davis is a nice piece. I think Jamison Crowder being there for now is good. Keelan Cole is a nice complimentary guy as well. So they have got pieces.
And Denzel Mims, who we loved.
Yeah, absolutely. Denzel Mims kind of, I think, can marinate here for a little bit and kind of.
Never again am I drafting a Baylor receiver, by the way.
Yeah,
never again.
Never.
Don't scout the helmet. Scout the player.
Dude, I go off of history and statistics.
Okay, then should you never draft Justin Fields?
I like Denzel Mims a lot.
Ohio State's never had a quarterback produce.
Gone.
Well,
Anyway.
I guess we'll see if he does. I mean, if Justin Fields doesn't produce, then yeah, you shouldn't. You should have stuck with the helmet theory.
Does Denzel Mims have any chance to be why he's in New York right now? Any chance to be a valuable asset? I know we talked about this before. A valuable asset to your dynasty team.
Does he have a chance? Absolutely.
Absolutely not.
You're saying he has a 0% chance of doing anything this year?
If it's not, unless it's injury.
Well, then that's a chance. So you're
saying there's a chance.
I remember I said I'm not selling him. I still like to. I have so many Denzel.
You
Mims
sound like a
it's
hater.
Gross. I'm just sad.
He sounds sad. He sounds bitter.
He does. He's
super
a
bitter
Mims fan.
I'm a bitter rich.
All right. Well, we've gotten through the tight ends. We gotten through the wide receivers.
Have we gone through the wide receivers?
I feel like we've.
What would you pay for Elijah Moore right now? I give him a first and second.
I still have a league where I'm drafting, and it's a 1 QB league, and I have 102, which I'm not taking about 102, but
you should.
But I also have 107.
Oh,
and I'm probably gonna. It's gonna come down between him
and
and
Bateman.
It's gonna be him and no, it's gonna come down to him and Jalen Waddle.
Oh,
and that's gonna be tough. But I think I'm going Elijah Moore.
Nice.
Him, Bateman, and Waddle are in the same tier.
Yep.
So
it's tough.
I like them all.
I wouldn't bat an eye to give a first and a second for him.
Yeah, me neither. Running backs. Funny situation here. Now, LaMichael Pirine, 4th round pick.
Woo!
Michael Carter, 4th round pick. Ty Johnson, powerful guy, kind of looked good at times, right?
He did.
Tevin Coleman, the most familiar with the offense, but has been a giant turd ferg since the days when he was competing with Devontae Freeman.
He's working off veteran minimum, easily cuttable salary, just to let you know.
So
is Ty Johnson.
So what's funny is Michael Pirine and Michael Carter both strive in that outside zone, which is what they're going to run, which is great with these offensive tackles that are big and can move. I mean, Kavai Becton's a monster, and he can move really well. I predict Michael Carter is going to be the starter in this offense, and he's going to offer some PPR upside, and I think he's going to do pretty well in this outside zone. I was in a situation where in our old league, I had a chance to trade up into the second round by giving him a future first. Everybody thought I was taking Trey Sermon. I took Michael Carter.
Was that in our league where you jumped right in front of me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you going to take Michael Carter?
Of course I was going to take him.
I took Michael Carter.
I'm assuming you took Trey Sermon then?
Yes, of course I did.
I think and watch Trey Sermon be the guy. That's all I think about all the time now is because I made that move.
Yep.
I was like, Trey Sermon's going to be the guy. I know because they traded up for Trey Sermon, so he's going to be the guy. Raheem Mostert, we'll talk about San Francisco soon.
Yeah, we will.
So Michael Carter, though, like I go back to Michael Carter's tape. Do I think he's a dynamite running back? No, but I think he's a very solid
good.
running back. I mean, good enough to keep Javonte Williams at bay. That's your bay.
I mean,
Did he keep him at bay? I mean, I think they split time.
yeah. I mean, did Thurman Thomas keep Barry Sanders at bay?
For a year.
I mean, that being said, I think you could make an argument that outside of potentially Najee Harris, the ceiling in year one could be the highest for Michael Carter, even higher than Etienne or Javonte or Trey Sermon. The PPR upside potential.
He's got a clear route to carries.
And he's got a clear route to carries. Will that likely happen? No, there's a lot of guys here, and it's probably going to be muddy and yucky. But if he does do a good job, earns that job partway into the season, he could have a monster role, and he could be one of those rookies that ends up helping you on a championship run. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm not even saying necessarily that it is the most likely scenario, but the ceiling is absolutely there in year one for Michael Carter.
And he's got a clear path to those PPR running back points as well. So now he's in a unique role to be the man as the starter, but he's also in a position to catch the football. I mean, LaMichael P. Ryan's not he's okay at catching the football.
And he was drafted by a different regime.
He was.
Which it was a
Does
different,
matter.
it was a different coaching staff. That kind of stuff does matter. I know they're both 4th-round draft picks, and I'm sure once they get to camp, if LaMichael P. Ryan is the better running back, he'll get carries. But for now, going into it, there's still got to be a slight edge given to Michael Carter. And from everything that we've heard, Michael Carter has looked explosive and looked pretty good in this offense throughout the early portions of the offseason stuff. So we'll see. I think he probably has a little bit of a leg up on a guy like LaMichael P. Ryan. Obviously, Tevin Coleman has probably a knowledge leg up on all these guys. Just being familiar with the whole Kyle Shanahan offense and how like Mike LaFleur runs things. But bottom line is they drafted Michael Carter. I think they're going to want to get him on the field at some point.